Hey girl, can we seriously talk?
Girl, come over. You already know it's time for real talk.
All right, welcome back to Seriously Girl Talk with your two fabulous hosts, Katie and
Destiny.
and we have some very fabulous info this talk show.
Yes.
And
We actually dressed up for the occasion because today's topic is the real about work-life balance. So look at us in our
very professional. Okay, we dressed up just for you guys on a Saturday night.
literally.
We're really like playing into the role of what we actually experience in our everyday life. Well, at least in our job, right? And we wanted to dress up to make it feel so real. Not just for us, but for you guys, since you guys will be watching us as well.
Right. So I want to start off by asking you, what's your non-negotiables for having a peaceful time at work?
Well, I think I have my top notch is my coworkers, right? I cannot have stingy coworkers or rude coworkers or people who are miserable in life. I mean, you're going to get those, right? But you need to have a group of people that you can vent to, debrief, have fun with, giggle and laugh because your job already is like a shit show.
Yeah, literally.
So you need those people to balance it out. So that's definitely something that I don't negotiate.
That's a good one. Because now I'm thinking, if you ask me, because I think that's having community, and I'm big on that. Like having or finding community wherever you are, and finding your people, because literally those people that you find can, like you said, make or break your experience while at work, and you spend more time at work than you do anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. I'm trying to think of what an additional one would be for me. Oh, I know. So yours is top one, to be honest. Like, I'm on board with you. Another one I feel would be taking my break. Like, respectfully, I'm gonna take my break because
100%. You need it. You know, it's that time for you where you can isolate and kind of like reset your mind, right? Especially after you're having a long day, right? And you take like those 30 minutes and you're just like eating your little lunch. I don't know about you, but I tend to watch TV shows during my lunch or scroll on TikTok and Instagram. I think that's very important, especially when you're having a very tough, long day.
yeah.
So taking a lunch for sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you though, like I feel that I'm still working through that because I do make it a point to take my break. Don't get me wrong. But I find that during my break, I'm also working through it. So like I'm still checking my emails, or I'm trying to figure out what it like finish something for next week or whatever the case is, but it's work related. And I feel like because in our field, people can seek us out at any point. And because we work with kids, right? If they come in and it's during my break, I also feel some type of way telling them, oh, you're having a crisis. Wait, I'm on my lunch break, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I even was like, maybe I should physically leave the building. That should be maybe a boundary or a rule that I set for myself to enhance my peace at work. But I am still navigating through that because of that. And also inside of myself, I feel that I struggle with stillness, you know? A part of me just wants to be productive like 24/7, and I feel like if I'm not being productive, it's like, what the hell are you doing? Which I think is toxic.
It is very toxic, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
Like, on a serious note. But let me be honest with you. Like, that's the reason why when I take my lunch, I leave, even if it is just going to my car. Like one of my coworker always leaves for lunch, chills in their car, you know. And I've learned to do that because you tend to stay in your office, and you're like so tempted to check your emails or complete any like written documentation that you have to do, or if someone's knocking on the door, it's like, damn, like now you have to answer, you know. So that's why like I dedicate my lunch and I leave, even if it's just to sit in my car. You have
Yeah,
to,
I think that's
because
really
you need
important.
to separate your work from yourself.
No,
Because if
for
not,
sure.
you're going to like burn out.
So is that your boundary? Like if you had to explain what the boundaries that you have for yourself at work?
Oh, I have a lot of boundaries at work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I take my lunch, I leave on time. I'm not overworking anymore like I used to. And if I don't want to do something, I don't do it.
Honestly, good for you. Seriously,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like what we were talking about off of this, right? We were casually talking, and we brought up the cultural aspect of all of this, and how, especially as a Hispanic woman, you kind of have to, or just like a minority in general, right? But I'm gonna say Hispanic women because that's what we grew up with, right? Or how we grew up, and it's this idea of you have to work twice as hard, you should always be doing something, go, go, go. So I think that's where that kind of toxicity that I was talking about comes from. Because I feel that if you're not busting your ass, you're not seen, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I think that's kind of cultural too for us. So that's why I think it's good that you're enforcing your boundaries to keep a sane mind at work. Because if you're not sane, then how are you going to support the babies?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I call
Yeah.
them babies. They're like older kids, but you know, they're still babies in my eyes, for sure.
And I also do think that it's a lot harder, especially because we're so instilled, right? Like our family instilled this whole idea of like, oh, you need to get a job, you need to go to school, you need to do this, and you need to do that. And then we get to our job, and it's like, you see a lot of individuals not putting in the same work ethic as you. And that's one thing that I had to learn, like being in this field, right? That I'm an overachiever. I always want to make sure I'm doing everything the best that I can, and work twice as hard, right? In the sense of like my first year, I used to stay like till 3:30, 4 o'clock, doing work and stuff. And I learned that I'm not getting paid for that time, right? Like I see my other coworkers leaving at like 2:35 on the dot, and it's like then I'm staying over the time that I'm uh, getting paid for. And that's not right, because why do I have to stay and you don't, you know? And a lot of the times like it's just me like being um self-conscious in a way, like overthinking my job and my role, and making sure that I'm doing everything correct, you know and it's a lot of insecurities in myself, I guess, that are put on by other individuals at work, if that makes sense. Like they'll
Yeah.
tell you, oh, like you need to make sure you do this and this and this by this time, and it's like, unfortunately, I didn't get to do that during that time, so I'm not gonna do it until the next day. Like, don't text me, don't email me, don't call me past my time, because I'm not about to be stressing at home over work either, and driving myself crazy.
Yeah. So when I heard you say I'm an overachiever, like I was thinking, where does that come from? You know, like where do you think that comes from?
And that's something that, like, I mean, honestly, the world has instilled that in us, like,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Right.
But
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like back to that, just I'm sure how you were raised, and then also yeah, like society, and I think the pressure of women too, because you kind of have to show up better than your counterparts, especially if
yeah,
they're, not minorities.
yeah.
But also, you said, I feel insecure, I think is the word you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's like insecurities, yeah.
So, imposter syndrome
Mm-hmm.
ish. So, where does that come from?
I don't know. I feel like the idea that society, like the societal norms that
Hmm.
are thrown upon us, like we're supposed to work a specific way, we're supposed to, have a traditional work style, and those are things that, we feed into, right?
Being like boxed into your 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And even like past that, right? Like within your job, like they stress so much of like who you're supposed to be at a job, right? Like, for example, you see how we're dressed, right? Like, think about it like this. Us, well, it might be a little bit different. I don't know, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like within your job, right? But like in a high school, like we're supposed to dress professional, right? Like, gym teachers can wear gym clothes, you know, because it's tailored to their job. And like, depending on what you do, it's like you come in jeans, sneakers, and a sweatshirt. It's like, are you even here to do a job? Like, you know, like their idea is like you have to come professional 24/7. Don't get me wrong, I do. However, there are times where I'm gonna come in with jeans, you know, and a sweatshirt and a sneaker, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do my job.
Oh my God,
You know?
dude, I hate that. It's the idea of your job is your whole identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually, did you hear about the teacher bay thing?
No.
So there's this teacher. I'm sorry. There's this teacher, right? And she has a very voluptuous body, right? That's not something that any person can control, right? If you got a lot of junk in the trunk, God bless you, sis, right? So she was wearing, like, for example, a pencil skirt, and there was a lot of commentary on that. It was, oh, she should not be wearing that. She's a teacher, right? Some people were like, this is very provocative. She should try to change it. The other part of the media was saying, or commenters, right, were saying, she can't really control that. The skirt is past her knees. And then what came out, because I kept following it because I was very interested because I was a teacher, or I'm still in education, right? So I just found it interesting. Um, because I can't relate. Like, I don't have the junk in my trunk, so I could get away with how she was dressed. I'm sure if I wore the same thing, no one would say anything because I don't have the body she has. So, anyways, someone came out and found her private page, and on her private account, she's like twerking. She's, that was the main concern, was the twerking. So it's like, can she not twerk because she's a teacher, or like, is that inappropriate because she's a professional overall? Like, it's super controversial. I don't even know the answer to it. I don't even know where I would necessarily stand, because a part of me feels, maybe make it private, maybe make the account private.
I don't know, because at the end of the day, like, you have to think about, people have lives outside,
right? But that's my thing,
like, you can't tell somebody how to live their life when they're not at work. Like, unless you're paying me, right? Unless you're paying me outside of my work hours to tell me what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to live my life, then okay, cool. You're paying me, right? But you're not paying me. So I got to make my money some way, somehow. It's like me saying, oh yeah, I'm about to go to the club, get drunk and lit and dance or whatever. And like a video, somebody like random records me doing that. That's not on me. Like, I can't control what's done on the outside. But
well, with her, she posted it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's something that, you can't control. Like, the person can control it, but I'm talking about, like, professionals, like the educators or whoever's telling you, like, you can't do that outside of work. Like, you can't control that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's not on the clock.
To live my life. Yeah.
Right. But it's still, that's what I'm saying. Like, especially in the field of education, it's a bit tricky, because then what if a student comes across the page, right? Like, things like that. It's tricky, but I do definitely agree that people need to have their own identity outside of their job, because your job isn't your only identity. But it's funny, because when you meet someone, what's something that comes up? Oh, what do you do for a living? It just becomes part of you.
Yeah.
And that kind of, for some people, I mean, some people embrace it, but it's really wild if you think about it, that that's the face of who you are a lot of times.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie to you, there are some individuals that actually their identity is their whole entire job.
Right.
Like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm like a school counselor at so and so, and I do this for a living. Don't get me wrong, like when people do ask me like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm like, yeah, I'm a school counselor. Because I think for me it is like pride associated with it, right? Because like I come from a family that aren't educated, right? So I'm a first generation student, right?
Shout out to you.
So I do like say, yeah, I have a master's, like I work in a school, for that specific reason, because I hold a lot of pride into it. And that's one thing that like my boyfriend will say to me is like, yeah, babe, you are a school counselor, but you do a lot more things, like you're a lash tech, you do your own business, like you got to make sure that you advertise that too. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know, it's not something that I identify to like my whole world, if that makes sense, but it's something that I am proud of because I paid a lot of money for it. Okay.
Facts.
Like I'm in debt. But it's also like the time and effort that I went through, right? Like especially like for a person whose first language was Spanish, right? Like going through all those years to work so hard. Like of course I'm gonna tell people, yeah, I'm a school counselor and I work in education, like because I am proud of it. But it's not like to say like I'm talking to you, I'm like, yeah, I'm a school counselor. Like I'll be like, Destiny, like, let's do TikToks, let's do this, like let's do other stuff. But it's just some people reflect or not reflect. Some people revolve over like their whole profession, like eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. It's the whole job. Like, like 9 o'clock p.m., like texting you or emailing you about a job, about something in your job. And it's like, do you know I have a life? Like, I have a life outside of this,
Yeah. So I think that is a reflection of that individual person or the people that do that. And I think that people that tend to do things like that have not found purpose outside of their job, which is, I don't know. It would be situational, case by case, right? Some people are okay with it and some people aren't. It, to me personally, it doesn't sound fulfilling because I don't want my sole purpose in life to rely on my job. So if you had to give someone advice, like what would you say would be the balance? Like, because even us talking about it, it sounds so difficult, right? Because there's reasons to embrace it, but then it's also, tough, depending on your position as well, right? Or your career path. So, like, what would you say is a balance? Like, how can an individual keep a balance that their whole purpose in life isn't solely on their job?
Well, personally, I would start off by saying, having hobbies, right? Like making sure that you do what you love to do. Like, for example, I'll come home, walk my dog, turn on the TV. Either I play some video games or I watch a TV show. Then I start to cook or I bake, like, or hang out with my boyfriend, spend some quality time, Netflix and chill, yada, yada, yada.
Aww.
Or like even go out or something, like I don't have my email on my phone. And so
Oh, that's good.
if I do open up my email, like it's nothing work related. Um and yeah, like I think having hobbies is very important for creating that balance. And you also have to like mentally train yourself to turn off your brain when it comes to work. Because I used to be a person that, and this was like before like my education job, like while I was in retail, like I would work, then go home, think about work, and then go back to work. And then, like I was going crazy, So like I mentally had to train myself, like especially this year, like I set a boundary where it's like I'm not thinking about work past 2:30. Like work is over.
And I just want to acknowledge how hard that is for a high school counselor to do, because these kids are relying on you, right? Like for your recommendation letter to get into their college, to help them navigate whatever it is. So your job requires a lot of compassion, and a lot of like other people relying on you. So it is really hard to mentally check out at 2:30.
Yeah, and that it's definitely something hard to do, but it's something that, with practice and time, you're able to accomplish it.
Right.
Especially because you have to think about it. These kids need need to learn responsibility, right? Like, yeah, you need a letter of recommendation. There are deadlines.
Oh, yes.
Don't be worrying about it. Like, don't be emailing me 5:55 like, hey, I need a letter. Like, the deadline's tomorrow, because I'm not writing it that night. I didn't even see that email till the next day at 7:30.
Yeah, see, I'm the worst. I'll be
So.
like, oh my God, yes, writing it right now.
Yeah,
I need to get
girl.
better at boundaries. I know.
No,
But also for me, I was gonna say, this is so cliche, but self-care. And my self-care looks like going to the gym, because I feel like that's how I release a lot of my stress. It's a necessity, like quite literally. And also, again, like I had mentioned, community with people, like being around you, like when we hang out, that's refreshing to me, or like um seeing like a family member, right? That's refreshing to me. Like just having connections outside of work, I think is super important.
Well, props to you for going to the gym, because it's definitely something hard to do, and something that, consistency is key.
Right.
So you should be very proud, because you have actually been going.
Thank you,
And
girl.
I can be a witness since day one. She said, Katie, I'm going to the gym. And I said, okay, girl, you go. And she has been very consistent with the gym. So
Thanks,
good for you, girl. How wellness is
health is wealth.
Health is wealth. Yeah, that's the word. Health is wealth.
Okay, so we've established our non-negotiables. I'm so curious to hear what other people have to say. Like, what are your non-negotiables to maintain your peace at work? We would love to read those in the comments, because maybe it can also help us. Because again, this is a space where we're growing, learning, evolving. So please share all the gems. So now we're going to do our quirky question.
I love it.
I actually love that. So, what's something you recently had to unlearn?
Taking things personal.
Shut up. I was going to say that.
Yes. Not taking things personal, right? I'm a very take things personal kind of girl, okay?
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning, right? Because you can never finish learning something. But
Right.
it's hard, and that's something that I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
Well, why do you feel that it's difficult to not take things personally?
I don't know. I feel like I grew up with it, no offense, it's my parents' fault. Like, I was raised to hold everything inside, and because they didn't want to hear me out, that I'm like, damn, they hate me. And it's I grew up where it's everything's bottled up, that now anything that anybody says, I'm overthinking everything.
Yeah.
So it's my parents' fault, because I was raised like that. So those are things that I'm trying to unlearn, right? And I do it a lot, especially within my job, with my coworkers, with my supervisors, even from past, not my current job, but even my past jobs, right? I would always feel some type of way, because Jackie over here didn't say hi to me in my retail job, right? That's not a real person, by the way. That's just John Doe. So, but it's I used to feel some type of way like that, or um so and so got treated better because they did X, Y, and Z, and it's I did the same thing, but they got rewarded and you did it. So it's
Where my praise at?
Seriously. So it's those are little things that I'm starting to not take personal anymore, and it's a hard thing to do, but it's something that I'm learning.
So how are you unlearning it? Like, what does that look like?
reminding myself, right? Like, are you really upset because they did it to you in a way where you feel like some type of connection with the person? Or are you really just looking at it because they just did it just to do it, if that makes sense?
So like stopping to really analyze the situation and what's happening.
Yes. Yeah, like, reflecting as to like why I feel the way I feel about it.
That's a great
So,
technique.
I reflect a lot, Destiny.
That's great, as you should, as we all should, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's something new that I've learned to do, especially like this year within my job, like, and like relationships, like with friends and stuff, like just sit back and reflect.
It definitely helps you understand different perspectives too. Like you said, not taking it personal, so figuring out how it doesn't have anything to do with you and what they may be going on or what's going on in their little bubble, So I think that's a good one.
What about you? Because you said shut the.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna talk about that one because that is something though that I'm continuously trying to unlearn, definitely. But something else, because we all have multiple things, works in progresses here. But mine, I guess I would say, is learning, or I'm trying to learn how to remain in the here and now, right? So part of that is overthinking, like you mentioned. I'm learning to really take in what's happening now in this moment and not try to anticipate the future. And I believe that a lot of times I can become anxious, and that's where that stems from, right? Because a lot of what anxiety and anxiousness is kind of overthinking, premeditating, like what's to happen in the future kind of thing. So I think in doing that, it takes away from you remaining in the moment and experiencing things that are happening right now. So I feel that when I do that, I am really missing out on things that could be undermining an accomplishment that I just did, right? Like when I just graduated from the counseling program, I was so pressed about, okay, the counseling job. But it's like, wait, girl, take a minute to just acknowledge the fact that you went to school with 2 kids while working full time. Like, just sit in that, so I'm like learning to just sit my ass in the situation I'm in, to really just take it in and not focus on the future. So it's like my mantra is like step by step, right? Like literally one step at a time.
And I just want to say how proud I am because I got to witness,
you,
towards half of the program, right, of you doing that. Actually working full time, going to school full time, and taking care of 2 kids full time, all by yourself, and that's not easy. So,
thank you. Oh, give me hugsies.
So you should be very proud, and it's very important to actually like focus on the here and the now because we tend to miss a lot, like you said. We're so like, I think we're very trained to look futuristic, especially like us minorities. Like we tend to picture like what's the big picture, what do we want to do in the future, that we miss those little steps in between, like it's like now we're like, okay, we graduated, right? Like now we have to find a job. Okay, found a job. Now we have to do this and we have to do that. We have to do that. That we don't sit down and realize like you did all of that, like take a minute and embrace it and, fill yourself with so much joy that you were able to accomplish it. And with time, like everything's gonna fall into place. We're so quick to like grow up that we miss out on stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm very proud for you doing that.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Proud girls.
Proud girls. But yeah, so and don't get me wrong, like I think it is important to plan for the future, but it's like you said, just kind of taking the step back to embrace like, oh, this is happening, So that I think that's really powerful. Well, guys, here we are wrapping up now. Seriously, girl talk out. No.
Peace out. You know what's crazy? Like our mutual friend, I'm not gonna name any names because I feel like we've been name dropping. But she'll be
Ooh,
like,
juicy.
Shorty, no.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this episode. Please remember, if you would like to incorporate yourself into our episodes in our email, you can send us commentary about a particular situation that you may want advice on or that you would want to bring to our community so we can discuss and you could be a part of it.
Yeah.
All right, bye. Real talk, I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Seriously, until next time.